Fight Live returns to Channel 5 this Friday. Two of Britain's most exciting super lightweights collide at London's legendary York Hall. Don't miss Eubank versus Farrell this Friday on Channel 5.
I'm going to share something with you that might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something, completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.
Razaban IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Very early this morning, but I've got
early.
It's early, and I've got
early in New York, but I mean it's coming up to 11 o'clock Central London time.
with me a very sharp dress. Kalle Sauerland. Kalle, how are we, mate?
Well, I don't think I'm any sharper than usual, but thank you for the compliment. I'll take that.
It's a nice colour. It's a nice colour.
Doing fantastic. I mean, it's a cold day out there. We got a hot one on the line today. Eubank versus Smith, 21st of January, live on Sky Sports box office from the not only historic city of Manchester, but a historic fight city, and it's I think a fight that the fans have made over the years because it's been talked about for so long now, especially Smith now campaigning at middleweight. It's a natural one to do. Wanted Chris out quickly, and there have been some fantastic fights in that Manchester arena over the years, and I don't think this one's going to disappoint. I think it's an absolute banger. People calling it a 50-50. We have different opinions on that, especially Junior. But yeah, no, it's a terrific fight, huge event.
Kalle, obviously I know a lot's going on over the last couple of months, and we'll touch on it a little bit later, but how important was it to get Junior back in the ring? He's spoken over the last couple of years about Canelos and Triple Gs. He's 33, he's not getting any younger. I'm not sure he can use that title next gen anymore.
He's younger than Smith, but no, we're not looking past this fight. But at the same time, of course, those big names are out there, you know, but nothing goes past the 21st of Jan right now. This fight is too big a fight to look past. It's a fight that's been, in the making for years. It's a massive fight. Can't look past that fight. It's as simple as that. It's too tough a fight. It's a real live fight, and it's one that we'll be taking very, very seriously. But of course, we talk victory always, and I'll be doing my work in the background. But at the same time, we can't look past this, and we're just delighted that we got something so good so quickly to get us back in action.
Also, I know there was some issues. Obviously, he was with Sky, got out of Sky, going to DAZN, fighting Conor Ben, coming back to Sky now. What is the situation promotionally, contractually? Is he aligned just with you, free agent? What is it?
Yeah, I don't want to go too much into the TV situation. I think I bore the fans' heads off, but it's all amicable, Yeah, we work well with all promoters, always have done. We had a fight at the weekend on DAZN. We had our own show on DAZN 10 days ago in the States. We worked with Channel 5 on Friday, our primary UK partner, obviously, smashing viewing figure records and numbers. Amazing with Harlem Eubank. We've got the big one this week in the Northeast, Josh Kelly, Troy Williamson. So, we'll have had 4 events in 12 days on all different networks. So, it's been amicable. The negotiations have been professional, and here we are.
How tough is the fight? Liam Smith is a fighter that still wants to challenge for world honours, still wants to grind, and he's got grit. I know they've sparred before, but...
You do not need to tell me about the Smiths, right? I have been there for years with the Smiths, always in the other corner, mostly in the other corner. When I go back to the Paul Smith, Arthur Abraham fights, I go to, obviously, Callum Eric Skoglund, Callum against Nicky Holskin, Callum against George Groves in the World Boxing Super Series. So we've worked so much with the Smiths over the years. I know the whole family. It's a great boxing family. But of course, we're in the other corner again now. I'm sure we'll be able to have a beer and a laugh about it in years to come. But now it's game time, and that's what it is. At the end of the day, I'm not the one getting in the ring, thank God. just setting up the fights. It's a big opportunity for Liam Smith, of course, as well. But we believe our man outmatches him in every single department.
You say you know the Smith. Chris Eubank Jr. has stated when he fought Conor Benn that I will need to be about 60%. For Smith, he said less than 60%. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he's got his chart on measurements. I probably think that Superman comes in at 100, and then everything else from that point comes down. So I think Canelo's around 78%, and we'll work our way down. So I'll be interested to hear what Smith requires. But yeah, no, don't make too much of that. That's Junior's stuff. That's the way he prepares himself. That's the way he approaches fights. Let's see.
Kalle, can you confirm? I read a quote from WBC President Maurice Suleiman to say that this could be an eliminator for the WBC version of the middleweight belt. Could you confirm and give us an update on that? Yeah,
there's talks about that, and it's great. I would say it's fantastic. I mean, it's pretty obvious to any fan that the winner of this goes on to a huge fights. This itself is such a huge fight, though, for so much on the line. So I think to look past that fight, for what it's for on the night, I think we already know. Be great to get WBC involved and sanctioned. Fantastic, but ultimately, I don't think that's going to put another bum on a seat or do whatever it is or sell another pay-per-view. I think this is a fight that the fans have made themselves by calling out for it for a long time, and it's a fight that the public know is a genuine fight, and I think that authenticity in boxing sells best, and it doesn't get more authentic than Eubank Smith.
You mentioned the pay-per-view. Can you let us know what that price might be, and also is it going to be? Is it going to be?
That's not my area, the pay-per-view pricings, but I'm sure it'll be very fairly priced. It's a big fight, but I can't comment on that right now. No.
As always, fans will have their say and say, look, is it a pay-per-view fight? How do you justify, what would you say to the fans right now? Why is this fight a pay-per-view?
Well, I think, it's a fight that requires, huge monies to stage. And in the UK, the way it's done is big money fights are staged via pay-per-view. That's the way the UK boxing industry works, has worked, and will continue to work until someone is out there and says, right, I'm going to write huge checks for boxing, and it's not based on pay-per-view. So it's more of an industry question than a fight question. Eubank has been in so many different pay-per-view fights before, and Eubank versus Smith is going to be one of the biggest fights of next year. So does it qualify? Absolutely into that model, yeah.
We know that the current economies with the living crisis, etc. We saw over the weekend, Kalle, you had a show on Friday night. Frank and Eddie went on Saturday. Sky Sports went on Sunday. We saw a lot of MTCs across all the shows, and that's going to be expected. But you've got KSI going the week before, pay-per-view on the Misfit show against Dylan Daniels. Is it going to be? I know it's not going to be a hard sell because it's different, but people are going to be squeezed.
It's a very valid question, and listen, I think it's tough times for the whole country from every demographic. It can be people who are employees. It can be people who are owning businesses who you'd look at and say, oh well, they're rich, you don't affect them. Well, no, it's going to affect everyone because businesses are affected as well. So business owners are up against it. I have several different businesses, and one of them, for example, we've got coffee shops. It's weird now I'm talking about coffee shops in a boxing interview, but the prices go up there. So yeah, we're not dumb. Of course, we see it's happening. At the same time, we have to try and make boxing work the best way possible. That's what I'd say to that.
Kalle, I was speaking to some people, and some of the promoters like to give out tickets for comps and stuff like that. Have you ever thought about, as a question for yourself and other promoters, to almost reduce ticket prices so that more fans can be accessible to them rather than giving hundreds and sometimes thousands out to comps?
Look, we've reduced ticket prices in the last year dramatically. we also looking at smaller venues where you can make it more compact. Yeah, at the end, I think everyone needs to work a way around it. But for us, it is a quick case of going out and trying to make it as fan friendly as possible. You'll see, for example, the KSI seating prices. They'll be out later this week. Very low. It's a very different demographic. I don't think that the Eubank Smith fight has any impact on the KSI fight. It's a completely different world. But yeah, the approach is got to be looked at, of course.
Just moving away from the show, obviously you've got another show Friday night, Troy Williamson and Josh Kelly. What can we expect to see?
Well,
great fight for the Northeast.
It's cold out today, isn't it? So, we're lighting a fire in the Northeast Friday night, live on Channel 5. I mean, that is a fight that I've been looking forward to now for several months. It's been talked about for, feels like about 10 years. But no, Friday night, absolute banger up there. And, it's going to be a wild atmosphere. We just talked about tickets, but it's doing very well up there. It's going to be very, very hot atmosphere. Live on Channel 5. Saw the numbers that Harlem Eubank had done on Friday. Expecting huge numbers from up there. Great advert for the sport, and a fascinating fight. Fascinating fight.
A man you worked with before, Fury-Chisora, attempts to do what people think he may not be able to do against Tyson Fury in the trilogy fight on Saturday. Can he pull it off? Can he shock the world and beat Tyson Fury?
I love Del Boy, but I don't think so. No.
No chance.
No, it's heavyweight boxing. Of course, anything can happen. It's a rejuvenated Del Boy. I just think he's meeting the man to beat in the division at the moment. So yeah.
Kalle, I want to ask you, just going back a couple of weeks to the Misfit show, KSI, Dylan Dennis go face to face, coffee's flying all over the place, and I see you shadowboxing on your own. What was going on in that corner?
Well, that was a bit of a cheeky clip, right? What I'd done was I put my hand up because I'd had a coffee thrown behind a light on my head, and I'm just like, what's next? So everyone's gone, who are you punching? I'm punching no one. I'm sort of standing on guard waiting to see what's coming next, So my son was laughing at it. I know it went sort of viral on the kids' networks, so I hope I didn't get too much stick at school for that. But Dad can throw a good right, but that wasn't the occasion to throw a right because there was no one there, as we all saw.
Kalle, finally, why should people tune in, buy a ticket, or watch at home pay-per-view January 21st, 2023?
Well, you're going to see war. You're going to see what in a ring. You're going to see two guys who need it and want it absolutely more than anything in their careers. Both pivotal stages of their careers. Excitement pure. The whole. Once again, this has been in the talks for a long, long time. So I think it's going to be one of those historic nights of British boxing. We've seen so many over the years. We've seen so many involving the name Eubank, whether it's junior or senior. And it's going to be another one of those nights. So be part of it.
Kalle Sauerland, IFL TV, thank you very much.
Fight Live returns to Channel 5 this Friday. Two of Britain's most exciting super lightweights collide at London's legendary York Hall. Don't miss Eubank versus Farrell this Friday on Channel 5.
I'm going to share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife for saying completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.